There's a moment, quiet, ordinary, almost invisible, when the way someone looks at you suddenly feels different, not heavier, not louder, just clearer, and I keep wondering why those moments stay with us more than the big dramatic ones. Maybe it's because subtlety makes us lean in. Maybe it's because the tiniest shift in someone's energy reveals a truth we weren't expecting. I used to think connection was obvious, that you could recognize it instantly, but now I'm not so sure. There's a softness in hidden places, a kind of emotional echo that lingers long after words fade, and that's exactly where this story begins. In the quiet, charged space between two people who act like they're just exchanging a simple hello. But truth is rarely that simple. You know that instant when you walk into a room and someone's whole presence adjusts without them even noticing. Their shoulders straighten, their eyes pause on you a little longer than politeness asks. Their breath catches just enough to reveal something they probably don't want you to see. It's subtle, but unmistakably human, and it always makes me wonder, what are they remembering in that split second? Or maybe who? Because the way we greet someone isn't just habit, it's a confession, a quiet, unfiltered admission of what we feel, what we miss, what we're trying not to say. Sometimes the greeting that seems casual carries the heaviest truth. There's a rhythm to these moments, a pulse that rises and falls depending on what the heart is hiding. At first, everything seems normal, almost predictable. A simple hey, a polite smile, a glance that doesn't linger. But then something shifts. The tone deepens, the air tightens, the space between words stretches a little. It's not dramatic, but you feel it, a soft tug beneath your ribs. And just when you think you imagined it, the rhythm changes again, faster, brighter, something alive flickering behind their eyes, like your presence unlocked a part of them they forgot existed. I keep thinking about why this happens, why one moment can unravel someone's composure so effortlessly. Maybe connection isn't logical, it's instinctive, and when someone hasn't felt closeness in a long time, even a tiny spark feels overwhelming. There's a curiosity loop here I can't close yet. Why do some greetings feel like a door opening even when no one touches the handle? Maybe you've felt it too, that uncertain pull that shifts your pulse without warning. The way a simple hi suddenly feels heavy, like the air is thick with everything unsaid. And here's what I used to misunderstand. I thought these reactions were always about attraction, desire, chemistry, but now I think it's deeper, more human. Sometimes it's loneliness, trying to find a crack to escape. Sometimes it's hope surfacing after staying quiet too long. Sometimes it's the heart remembering something the mind has been avoiding, and in that emotional push and release, something else happens. Tension builds, a glance held a second too long, a breath caught mid-sentence, a smile trembling at the edges. Then comes the soft release, a laugh, a shift in posture, a tiny exhale, as if they're reminding themselves to stay grounded. It's almost beautiful because it's honest. Honesty, especially unspoken, reveals the parts of us we thought we hid. Imagine two people in the same room pretending nothing's happening while something quiet and electric hums beneath the surface. One feels it, the other tries not to. Somewhere between their hello and next breath, something awakens, soft, uncertain, real. That's where it all truly begins. There's something captivating when someone acts normal while their energy betrays them. You sense the shift before realizing you sensed it, like noticing a subtle change in temperature. At first, everything looks steady, a polite greeting, a controlled smile, a calm voice. But beneath the composure, there's quiet turbulence, a subtle imbalance that doesn't match the perfection they show. I've seen this too many times, and every time it makes me wonder if the person is hiding what they feel or protecting it. It's like holding a delicate vase with both hands, afraid the slightest slip will show how fragile it is. He says something simple, harmless, meaningless even, but the way he says it is too careful. His words are smooth, but his pauses aren't. His tone is steady, but his breath isn't. In those tiny cracks, real vulnerability flickers. I used to think restraint restraint meant disinterest, that calm meant unaffected. Now I think the opposite. Sometimes those who feel most try hardest to appear untouched because their truth is too loud. It's almost heartbreaking. The rhythm of these interactions fascinates me. The rise of tension as he straightens, the quiet pull as he forces himself to stay composed, the subtle drop in his voice as he says your name, then another rise, softer this time, as his eyes linger just long enough to show what he's trying not to admit. And just when it seems the pressure will break, he retreats behind polished manners, smoothing the moment with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. You can almost hear unspoken words hovering like shadows. Don't let her see too much. Not yet. Curiosity grows here, one I won't close. What is he holding in so tightly? The restraint itself tells a story. People don't hide what they don't care about. They hide what matters. When a man hasn't felt intimacy, emotional or physical, for a long time, his body becomes a negotiation between hope and fear. Hope that this moment means something. Fear that it means too much. His soft movements give it away, the careful angle of his shoulders, the pause before speaking, the way he swallows before answering a simple question, steadying himself from within. These aren't signs of distance, they're signs of overwhelm. And overwhelm, strangely, is a sign of longing. I've watched men try to bury their longing under perfect manners, treating kindness like armor, politeness like a shield, but shields only exist when there's something worth protecting. And in that push and pull of emotion, the tension of wanting to reach out clashing with the discipline of holding back, you sense the truth he doesn't dare speak. What makes these moments so captivating isn't what's said, but what the silence carries. The room feels different, the air feels heavier, even time seems slower, stretching just long enough for you to notice how his eyes soften when you talk, or how his voice dips slightly when he responds. Those aren't accidents. They are small admissions, quiet ones, careful ones, but admissions nonetheless. And though he tries to hide it behind calmness, you see the truth at the edges of his restraint. He feels something he hasn't yet learned to show, and that's when everything starts to shift. There's a different kind of moment, one that doesn't announce itself, doesn't shine with obvious excitement, doesn't rush to fill silence with charm. Instead, it comes quietly, almost cautiously, like someone stepping into a dimly lit room, unsure what they might find. This moment happens when a man lets his guard drop just enough for you to sense the rawness beneath, not through words, not through smiles, but through the way he looks at you, as if he's rediscovering something he thought he'd lost. It's subtle, but it carries weight. His eyes hold yours slightly longer than they should. Not boldly, not intrusively, but in a searching way, like he's trying to understand a feeling he hasn't let himself feel in a while. And I can't help but wonder what memories he's touching in that moment, what ache, what longing, what quiet hope is resurfacing without his permission. I used to think these moments were romantic by default, but the more I watch, the more I realize there's something else entirely. They're human, they're honest, and sometimes honesty feels more intimate than any spoken confession. There's a rhythm in this silence, a slow unfolding that reveals more than hurried words ever could. At first, the tension builds. He notices you, his breath deepens, his posture stiffens slightly, as if bracing himself. Then comes the soft release. His shoulders loosen just a little. His gaze warms, his expression softens into something thoughtful, almost vulnerable. Then, just as the moment seems it might deepen, he looks away too quickly, breaking the gaze as if afraid he revealed too much. That shift, that inhale and exhale of emotion, carries a truth he might not be ready to admit, even to himself. There's a curiosity lingering in the air, and I'm not closing it yet. Why does silence feel so revealing when someone hasn't felt closeness in a long time? Perhaps because silence doesn't let him hide. Words can be practiced, tones can be managed, even smiles can be polite. but stillness is honest. In that unmoving moment, his whole emotional world becomes visible. The longing he's tried to ignore, the loneliness he's buried under routine, the hope he's afraid to let breathe. And the way he greets you in that silence says more than words ever could. A quiet hello, a softened smile, your name spoken gently as if he's trying to memorize how it feels on his lips. These are not performances, they're reflections of the connection he's craving but doesn't know how to reach. I used to think men were unreadable in these moments, that their silence meant distance. But now I wonder if stillness is actually closeness. What if quiet is where he feels safest to feel? And when you look at him, really look, you sense the parts of him waiting for something real. There's almost a trembling in his presence, not weakness, but like someone recovering from emotional starvation. He's not holding back because he doesn't care. He's holding back because he cares so deeply that releasing even a fraction of it feels overwhelming. And yet, even in that restraint, his truth slips through. The way his voice softens around you, the way his breath slows when you move closer, the way he tries to look away but keeps being pulled back. These are emotional fingerprints he can't hide. And in the rise and fall of that quiet greeting, you feel something shift gently, quietly, undeniably, as if he's remembering what connection feels like, even if he's not ready to step fully into it. The moment lingers, hanging delicately, waiting to become more. There's a moment, quiet, unforced, almost deceptively simple, when everything you thought you understood about someone's intentions blurs in the softest way. It doesn't need a dramatic gesture or lingering stare to feel real. It's woven into how he breathes when you approach, how his voice steadies when he speaks to you, how he tries to stay composed even as something inside him shifts. And I keep asking myself why this type of greeting carries so much weight. Why does a simple hello feel different from someone who hasn't known closeness in a long time? Maybe because absence changes us. It sharpens our senses, heightens awareness, and turns ordinary interactions into quiet reminders of what we've been missing. When a man hasn't experienced real intimacy, the kind that reaches past the surface, his greeting becomes a search for connection disguised as politeness. He doesn't arrive with boldness or charm. He comes with attention. How he notices you becomes its own language. His eyes catch small details, the softness in your expression, the change in your tone, the way you move, the energy you bring. Sometimes he notices all this before realizing it, and that's where the emotional tension begins. At first it's normal, a smile, a measured tone, a greeting fitting neatly into friendly. Then a subtle shift happens. His voice grows warmer, slightly lower. His eyes hold yours just a fraction longer. His body tilts toward you ever so slightly, like instincts outrun logic. And just as the energy rises, he pulls back. He resets posture, breaks eye contact, clears his throat. It's the emotional equivalent of stepping back from a fire before feeling the heat too deeply. That push and pull, the build and release, creates a current neither of you names but both feel. I used to think these shifts were accidental, but now I'm not sure. I think part of him recognizes the moment for what it is, a fragile doorway to something he's not ready to enter, yet he doesn't leave. He hovers in that doorway between restraint and longing. There's a curiosity here I still won't close. Does he step back because he's unsure of what he feels, or because he knows exactly what he feels and doesn't know what to do next? His compliments, when they come, are understated but honest, not loud, not over the top, but intentional. He says your name softly, as if reminding himself of its shape. He notices something small about you that you didn't expect him to see. Something tiny enough to seem accidental, yet thoughtful enough to show he means it. Compliments like that aren't a strategy. They're a release, a way to let a piece of emotion slip out without giving away the whole truth. And beneath each one, there's a quiet tremble of hope, the kind he's trying not to show. He smiles, but it wavers. He speaks, but the pause before he talks gives him away. He stands still, yet the energy around him feels alive, like it's quietly awakening. That's what happens with men who've gone a long time without intimacy. They don't hide their feelings behind confidence. They hide them behind caution, but caution has cracks, and through those cracks, the rawest parts of them become visible. The parts that want closeness but fear what it might bring. The parts that feel deeply but haven't had a safe place for those feelings in a while. And as he stands there, offering a greeting full of unspoken emotion, you can sense something inside him gently shifting, quietly moving, waiting for the moment he finally allows himself to step closer. There's a moment in all of this, a moment that doesn't feel like an ending, but more like a quiet doorway into everything he's been trying to say without words. It's the point when everything building inside him finally settles into clarity, something steady, something he can't hide behind careful manners or polite distance, and it usually comes in the simplest way, the way he says your name, not with excitement, not with hesitation, but with a softness that feels deliberate, like he's letting himself touch an emotion he's been circling for far too long. I keep thinking about why a single word can carry so much weight. Maybe because names feel familiar. Maybe because saying someone's name is the closest way to acknowledge a connection without fully admitting it. Or maybe because when a man hasn't felt real intimacy in a long time, the smallest act of closeness becomes its own kind of confession. At first, that final greeting seems ordinary, just a goodbye, just a gentle tone, just a simple exchange that should mean nothing. But then you notice the change. His voice softens, as if he's holding the moment with both hands. His eyes linger, not with longing, but with recognition. His breath slows slightly, like he's settling into the feeling instead of running from it. There's no performance there, no charm, no planned warmth, just truth. Quiet, unguarded truth peeking through the cracks of everything he's tried to hide, and the rhythm of it feels different, deeper than before. The rise comes from realization settling in his chest, the understanding that this connection has reached a place he can't dismiss as coincidence. Then the release. A soft exhale, a small smile, a tiny shift in posture, almost like relief, as if he's finally letting himself feel what he's been avoiding. I used to think the final moment of a conversation meant closure, but now I wonder, what if the way he says goodbye isn't an ending at all? What if it's the purest signal of what he's been feeling beneath the surface? That subtle softness isn't about attraction, it's about acknowledgement. Acknowledgement of how your presence has stirred something in him. Acknowledgement of how you brought warmth back to a part of him he thought had grown cold. Acknowledgement of the quiet gratitude he feels for being reminded that connection still exists. Maybe he doesn't fully understand it yet. Maybe he's still guarded, still careful, still working through emotions he hasn't carried in a while. But even so, you can sense the truth in the edges of his voice. He feels something real, something unexpected, something he doesn't want to lose. In that emotional push and release, his hesitations, his quiet confessions, his restrained warmth, you can feel the shift inside him. Not a sudden leap, not a dramatic moment, but a gentle awakening that builds slowly until it can no longer be ignored. He looks at you like someone who's walked through a long, quiet season and suddenly remembers how sunlight feels on skin, and his goodbye carries that warmth, that recognition, that silent promise that the moment mattered more than he could ever say. There's a loop that finally closes here. Why does the smallest greeting reveal the deepest truth? Because connection doesn't need noise, it doesn't need grand gestures, it doesn't even need clarity, it just needs honesty. And sometimes the way he simply says your name holds more honesty than anything else. So when he greets you or leaves with that subtle shift in energy, understand it's not just a hello or goodbye, it's an unspoken admission of the connection he feels, the closeness he's been missing, the part of himself he's slowly letting wake up again. And in that small, quiet moment, something real begins.